Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw an alligator. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. An easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. You don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the left, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Make this circle slightly smaller. Alligators have long bodies, so don't draw the circles too close together. On the right side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Make this circle about 2/3 the size of the first circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. Draw a sloping line across the head circle for a construction guide. On the right side of the head, draw a small rectangular shape as a guide for the top jaw. Make the guide wide at the base and thin on the tip. Below that, draw a similar shape as a guide for the lower jaw. Connect the head to the body using a couple of lines to create the guide for the neck. Make the bottom line curved. Connect the body circles using a couple of curved lines to create the guide for the torso. Draw a couple of sloping lines on the left side for the visible section of the tail. Below the neck, draw a short angled line for the first front leg. Under the first circle, draw a longer angled line as a guide for the other front leg. Bend the line a couple of times to indicate the joints on the leg as it steps forward. Under the circle on the left, draw another angled line as a guide for the other hind leg. Bend this line so that it's similar to the letter Z. Farther left, draw a shorter angled line as a guide for the visible section of the other hind leg. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small circle for the eye. Place the eye near the top edge of the circle. When you get the size and position of the eye right, draw a curved line at the top for the brow. Make the line for the brow long. Darken the small circle for the eyeball. Add a couple of short lines below the circle for creases on the skin. Inside the eye, draw a short vertical line for the slit pupil. Above the eye, draw a long wavy line for the top edge of the brow. Make the line angular to give the brow a rough texture. Follow the curvature of the line at the bottom as you draw this shape. Draw a sloping line at the bottom for a crease on the skin. To the right and slightly higher, draw another wavy line for the brow that's on the other side of the head. Draw this brow along the path of the initial circle. Use the top rectangular shape as a guide to draw the top jaw. Darken the basic path of the guide, but make the shape more curved. Darken the guides at the bottom using curved lines. Follow the path of the sloping guide as you extend the shape of the mouth to the left. Curve the left tip of the mouth down. The tip of this line should end at the left edge of the initial circle. Sketch a couple of lines inside the jaw to give it structure. Now draw a series of small triangular shapes along the bottom edge for the row of teeth. Make the teeth different sizes. Draw a couple more curved lines at the bottom for the other side of the top jaw. Add more teeth along these shapes too. Use the rectangular shape at the bottom as a guide to draw the lower jaw. Darken the guide, but make the shape rounder. On the left side, draw a long curved line that wraps around the tip of the mouth. Draw this line to the left of the initial circle. Connect the lower jaw at the bottom using a curved line. Inside the shape, draw a long wavy line for the top edge of the lower jaw. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. The line should slope down to the bottom right side. On the right side, draw small triangular shapes for the teeth. Make the teeth different sizes. Curve the path of the teeth along the guide and place them on the other side of the lower jaw. Darken the inner edge of the jaw, but don't overlap the teeth. Draw a short curved line on the left side of the mouth. Add a couple more lines for the inside of the mouth and throat. Don't overlap the teeth as you draw these lines. If you've made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Use the second line from the right that's under the body as a guide to draw the front leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the edges of the leg curved. Draw the bottom section of the foot using a curved horizontal line. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. The top part of the leg should be inside the body. At the bottom, draw a series of small V-shaped lines for the toes. The foot is stepping forward, so the toes should be pointing down. Draw the shape of the other front foot around the guide on the right. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shapes right. Make the right tip of the foot pointy. Add a couple of short lines at the bottom to separate the toes. Use the long angled line to the left as a guide to draw the hind leg the same way. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Draw a small square-like shape at the bottom for the foot. Use curved lines to draw the edges of the leg. When you get the shape of the hind leg right, darken the lines. Draw curved lines to create creases along the joints. On the tip of the foot, draw small triangular shapes to separate the toes. Draw a small pointy shape around the guide on the left for the visible section of the other hind leg. Darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the shape of the body. Draw a couple of curved lines below the head for the loose skin. Don't overlap the legs that are on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Now erase the initial guidelines. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Draw 3 long curved horizontal lines across the back. These lines will help you place the armored spikes on the back. Notice that the bottom line curves the opposite way. Now draw a series of vertical lines to create a grid-like pattern on the back. Make the lines more curved along the neck. These lines are just guides, so sketch them lightly. Draw a couple of short horizontal lines on the underside of the body too. Now draw small triangular shapes across the back and inside each square for the armored spikes. Place the spikes along the bottom edges of the squares. Make the small triangles flatter the lower they are. At the bottom, draw small ovals for the spikes. Draw a couple of short vertical lines across the bottom to create scales. Add some short lines on the underside of the tail too. Lightly sketch more curved lines under the head to create another grid-like pattern on the neck. Now shade your drawing. Use a dark value to create shadows across the body. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Pick a light source as you shade so that the shadows are consistent throughout the body. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the shadows will be on the undersides of the shapes. Add a medium value to the top part of the body for the darker coloration on the skin. Slowly and gradually add more value across the body. Darken the final lines to emphasize the shapes. Draw small dots on the jaws for the spots on the skin. Darken the scales and the shadows, but use light values to create highlights. Draw a series of short lines and scribbles along the bottom to create a grassy texture. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the alligator. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know in the comments what other animals you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.